Long before Goosebumps or Lemony Snicket, back in the day of horse-drawn carriages and candlelight, the master of blood-curdling stories was a man named Edgar Allan Poe. Poe wrote about murder and Margus, about gargoyles being burnt alive, and this tale still considers one of the most horrific stories ever written. It's the story of a man who has lost his mind.
What? I'm not crazy. You may think I am, but I am not.
And thus the tale begins. It starts with the old man.
Yes, that's right. This old man.
Would you kindly bring me some tea?
Of course, I'll be right there with your morning paper too.
Thank you. You don't look well today. Didn't you get any sleep last night?
Yes, old man. I am fine, but if anything, my senses are especially keen.
You seem to have a headache. Let me get up and fix you something.
No, enjoy your tea.
Such a kind-hearted old man.
True, he had never done me harm, but he had one sickly eye. How I hated how it looked. It was an eye like a vulture, pale blue with milky white film upon it.
A milky white film.
I wasn't crazy. It was the eye. It taunted me. It belittled me. It drove me from the room. I had to extinguish the eye.
He had to extinguish the eye.
So I set about the task. Night after night, I crept into his room.
He shone a light upon the eye.
But every night the eye was closed. It was the 8th night I crept and I heard the old man sit up suddenly in his bed.
He cried out in fear.
Who's there?
I remained still for hours, but I stood without moving, barely breathing. And then I shone my light, a single beam upon the eye.
It was open.
Wide open. It made me furious to look upon the dull blue milky eye.
The vulture's eye.
And then I heard it.
The beating of the old man's heart.
Faster and faster.
Louder and louder.
Ah! Ah!
Over. The heart was still. The eyes were closed forever.
The eye would trouble me no more.
An hour later, there came a knock at the door. It was the police. There's been a complaint.
About what?
The neighbors.
They called. A scream was heard.
Like this. Ah.
Yes,
Ah.
or at least that's what they're saying. It's suspicious, don't you think?
Yes, a streak of terror. It was my own, during a dream.
Or a nightmare.
Maybe come in, have a look around.
Investigate. He invited them in.
Yes, I invited them in. Would a crazy person have thought to do that? I wasn't worried. I have carefully hidden the now closed eye and silent heart beneath the floorboards.
Who else lives here with you?
Yes. Who else lives with you?
And why isn't he here?
Ah, the old man. He is away. You see, there is his room, and his bed is made. His belongings are in place too.
Is something wrong?
You seem to have a headache.
You should sit down.
Yes, a fine idea. Perhaps you'll join me for a spot of tea?
A spot of tea?
Well, that would be lovely.
Yes, a spot of tea.
He served them tea.
Indeed, for what I had to fear, I brought chairs into the room and served them the tea upon the very spot where I had placed the floorboards.
Ah, this is fine tea.
They say green tea is good for you.
The officers chatted about familiar things. It seems I have fooled them well. Could a crazy man have done that?
But soon he wished them gone.
I found myself growing pale. Why wouldn't they leave?
Lots of strange things happening these days.
People acting strangely.
It's like there's something in the air.
Then there came a ringing in my ears.
A muffled buzzing sound.
Buzz.
No doubt, I grew very, very pale. I raised my voice, but they still chatted. No doubt, I grew very, very pale. I raised my voice, but they still chatted.
It must be nice to visit the countryside this time of year.
Yes, peaceful, I'd say.
What with the four colors and all.
The buzzing grew louder until I realized that it wasn't a buzzing at all. It was a ticking sound.
Like that of a watch or a clock or time.
Paced to and fro. I clutched my forehead. but they chatted as if nothing was wrong.
Getting out of the city to take a walk in the woods, why? It clears my mind.
Much like this tea.
Yeah, it's green tea. It's good for the soul.
The noise grew louder, and then I knew it was for what it was.
Louder, louder, louder.
Couldn't they hear it? I paced the floor with heavy strides. I hissed, I growled, I gestured with my arms.
Anyway, why is it called Darjeeling?
I think it has something to do with where it's grown.
In India, unless I'm mistaken.
And then it came to me. They were mocking me with their innocent smiles and sips of tea.
He could bear it no longer.
Villains, monster, I did it, I confess. Tear up the floor, here is the beating of his hideous heart. That's right, I did it, but I shall not tell you what happened next, nor shall I tell you what's gonna happen now, if you don't stop staring at me with those vulture eyes.